guys, what is up? My name is Megan and welcome back to Book Talk with Meg. Hope you guys are doing well. Today I'm here with a very exciting video which I believe I have done every year since I started my booktube channel, and that is the end of the year book tag. This book tag was originally created by Ariel Lisette, who is actually a Canadian booktuber, which is always so fun considering I am also Canadian. And I will leave her original video down in the down bar because obviously all rights go to her. But I love doing this video and I love watching this tag video as well because I feel like I can learn so much for like what people like to read, people's reading taste, and how their overall year is going. And I love hearing people's plans for reading, so it's the perfect tag. Without further ado, let's hop on in. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will also link my previous year's answers down in the down bar if you guys want to visit those videos as well. So, the first question of this tag is, are there any books you have started this year that you have yet to complete and that you obviously want to get to before the end of the year? And I wouldn't be on brand if I wasn't talking about a book I talked about in last year's video that I have yet to complete, and that is Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer, which is the sequel to the Renegades series, which is a trilogy, I believe. If you guys haven't heard of the series, which I highly doubt, but still, Renegades is a book series that follows superheroes and supervillains, renegades and anarchists that have been in this long-lasting war over views of how society should be controlled. Renegades believe that there should be a strict control and that only certain people with powers should be like making decisions, whereas renegades believe that everybody should be able to do whatever the crap they want. And I read this book during a readathon this summer and got to page 205, so I'm literally halfway there. I just need to push myself to finish it. It was probably too much of an ambitious read for a readathon, hence why I decided to put it down. The other book I want to finish before the end of the year is a newer release, and that is The Last True Poets of the Sea by Julia Drake. I wanted to read this book because of Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads, who has spoken about this book, and she said that this is one of her favorite books of the year. What I understood from this book was that there were some slight magical realism elements in here, and that this was a book that followed a brother-sister relationship with an attempted suicide and also a shipwreck that happened years ago. I'm having a hard time with this book, not because it's bad by any means, but because it's very heavy with the trigger warnings. There's trigger warnings for drug and alcohol abuse, sexual assault, suicide attempts, very negative relationships in the family, and just a lot of them, and I'm only 69 pages in, so I had to stop after a significant event in the book kind of reminded me of stuff that happened in my own life, which I found hard, but I know this is going to be an important and beautiful read, so I do want to push through, but I need to give myself a little bit of time because this is a lot more hard-hitting than people are making it sound. Question number 2 is, do you have an autumnal book that is going to carry you through the new season? And for that I have one, and I also have a recommendation for you guys because I read that book series not too long ago, actually in my last 24-hour reading vlog, and I think it would be good for you. The book I want to recommend, or the book series, is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. I read Tuttle of Bones during my 24-hour readathon, and I just think this is such a good book to put you in the like fall, cozy, creepy kind of vibes that fall bring. This is a middle grade series, and it follows a main character named Cassidy Blake, who has had a near-death experience but was saved, and she can now see ghosts as well as cross through this veil, and we follow her and her family as they travel a little bit around the globe for her parents' TV show that does discuss paranormal elements and like haunted cities, but her parents don't actually have that talent, only Cassidy does. So we follow Cassidy on her adventures with her best friend who's a ghost and the people she meets along the way, as well as all the ghostly encounters she has and kind of like the traveling through the veil. I think this book series is just spooky enough, just autumnal enough, and I love it, so I highly recommend it. It definitely put me in a fall mood. The book I want to read to kind of put me in a fall mood is Steel Tide by Natalie C. Parker, which is the sequel to Seafire, a pirate fantasy young adult series, which for most people, pirates are more like a summer thing. But if you have been on my channel long enough, you know that my preferred genres of reading are contemporary adult fiction and just anything with romance in it, and I'm not a heavy fantasy reader aside from a couple of series I've picked up here and there that I have thoroughly enjoyed. Seafire being one of them. Anything remotely fantasy for me is kind of like fallish, so if I do end up searching for a fall book, this will probably be it. The only issue I have, and why I have not picked this up yet, is I kind of forgot a lot of the major plot points in Seafire, and I have yet to find a video or a blog post to have like spoilers to refresh my memory, and I cannot go into the sequel without the knowledge of the first book fresh in my memory, and I don't really want to reread Seafire. So Seafire is about an all-female crew of pirates, and basically they go on an adventure and are kind of going on a revenge quest to avenge our main character's family. And I don't want to spoil any of the plot, but it's very interesting. It's high in stakes. It's really great to see an all-female pirate crew, and I feel like it's very different. I gave the first book 4 stars, and I have high hopes for this one. The only thing that kind of upsets me is the cover change, but we're not going to get into that today. The third question is there a new release you are still waiting for? And I think the answer is obvious. If you guys know me at all, I am waiting for Supernova, which is the 3rd book in the Renegade series that comes out on November 5th. The 3rd and final installment, I believe, which is why I really need to get to Renegades, because the book is coming out real soon, so I need to get to it ASAP. I really love this series. I'm not much of like superhero or supervillain fan, but this series is exactly what I wish like more movies and stuff were about, so highly anticipating that one, and it's pretty much the only book that hasn't been released that I'm still looking forward to this year. The next question is, what are 3 books that you are still wanting to read before the end of the year? All of my answers are contemporary. Are we really surprised? Not really. The first book, and the one I'm most anticipating reading, is 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Poston. This was originally on my October TBR, but because this is such a holiday read, I kind of want to wait and read it over the holiday vacation. Yet I think about this book every day, so I don't know how long I'll be able to wait, but this is everything I want in a book. This is Christmas, it's romance, it's YA, I'm gonna love it, I know it. This follows a main character named Sophie, who just before the Christmas holidays is in a breakup, and therefore when she goes to visit her family in Louisiana, they set her up on 10 blind dates, and everybody says that this is a lovely book. It's kind of funny and awkward in the sense that like 10 blind dates is kind of, you know, some of them are bound to go a little bit rough and a little bit weird. I just think I'm going to love this so much. Christmas, blind dates, like an involved family. It has everything I want in a book. Another book I want to get to before the end of the year is actually a middle grade book, and that is Dear Sweet Pea by Julie Murphy. This I think I'm going to really love. I have been in a middle grade kick ever since I read Tunnel of Bones, which is why I decided to pick this one up. This follows a main character who is a little bit overweight, and people call her Sweet Pea. I don't remember what her actual name is. Patricia DeMarco. And her parents have divorced, and they live in 2 very, like, almost exact houses, but there's this woman that lives between the 2 houses from her parents, and I believe she works for like a column in a journal, and she asks Sweet Pea to collect and ship her mail to her while she is out of town, and I believe Sweet Pea kind of interferes with her advice column or something of the sorts. There's also talk about why her parents divorced. I believe there's some LGBTQ elements in here as well, and just following a slice of life story of Sweet Pea. I think this is going to be a very quick read and very charming, so it's going to help the reading slump I am currently in. And the last book is If It Makes You Happy by Claire Can. Again, this is a book with a overweight main character, and I don't really know a lot about this book. I just know that the premise, when I read it, sounded very appealing and very up my alley. A lot of people have been talking about this book and giving it good reviews. This has to do a lot with like body positivity and feeling confident in your own skin. I don't really know much more about the story, but I think it's going to be a fun, kind of like funny and different YA novel that's going to have, you know, representation for marginalized people, maybe people of color, people who are overweight. I hope the representation is done in a proper way, proper and respectful, but nonetheless, very looking forward and wanting to read this book before the end of the year. The next question is there a book that could still shock you and become one of your favorite books of the year? And for that, I have to choose, again, 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Poston, because this is a recipe of my own personality in a book. Christmas is my all-time favorite season. For me, it starts on October 1st and ends on like January 1st of the next year. I am a Christmas fanatic. I hate Halloween and all that stuff, and for me, Thanksgiving is already done with. Therefore, I'm all in Christmas mood, and I think this has a chance to be like my favorite book of the year. Maybe not because of Small Town Hearts, but still, great family elements in a book always sell me. Like anything that has to do with the holidays, again, very high on my priority list. Also, anything that's romantic, and this is a bit of a different plot, so I think this could be thoroughly entertaining and very different, and a lot of people say that Ashley Elston's writing is fabulous, so I trust those people, and hopefully this does make it to my best books of 2019. And the final question is, have you started making reading plans for the next year, aka 2020? I have. This year is going to be extra special because I have more abilities to plan. You guys will see later on in the year what I mean by that. But I have a lot of ideas, a lot of video ideas, a lot of reading plans. My reading goals are kind of almost set in stone in my head, and just the kind of books I want to read, the kind of reading life I want to have next year is already kind of ingrained in my mind. For me, like, planning for the next year again starts kind of like around fall time, October. So your girl is all ready for 2020, and I'm very excited about it. Although 2019 has been a pretty solid year, so hopefully 2020 can be similar for the reading and better for the life overall. But yeah, that was it for the tag video. I tag all of you guys to do this. I would love to hear your response either in the comments, or if you guys have any videos you've put out, I would love to see them, so leave a link down below, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye guys!